Now let's take a look at a little bit more about a link component. Previously we understand how we can work with link component in Next.js application. Now let's take a look at how we can navigate with the link component in Next.js. Here in the layout component, right here, we have two headers. Let's make this first header for this home page. I'm going to make the header for the home page using the array of navigation links. Let me show you how you can use that. Inside this lab right here, I'm going to create a new file and I'm going to name that file now links.js. That's upon you. You can specify any name to this file. Just out of that, inside this, I'm going to put the array of object. So I'm going to put here an array, and inside that we have different objects. To this object, we pass a name, the name of the navigation menu, and its path. You can see we have different paths to these navigation items. And then I'm going to export this nav link. So I'm going to say here export. Save these changes, back to the layout, and at the top, right up here, I'm going to import nav links from the library and from the navlinks.js file. Just out of that, instead of this division tag, I'm going to iterate over these navlinks and print my home header. So instead of adding all the code right inside this, I'm going to create a new function for that. Here I'm going to say function home nav, and then inside this home nav, I'm going to say return, and inside this, I'm going to create a nav, and inside this nav right here, I'm going to create an curly braces. Inside this curly braces, I'm going to call this navlinks dot map. I'm going to iterate over the array of object using map function, and after that, I'm going to call here link and index, or you can call here just I for index. Just out of that, inside this map, I'm going to iterate over an array of object. So I'm going to say here return UL. To this UL, we first specify key. So using this key, you will not get any warning from the React component. So I'm going to say here link dot name. I'm going to specify name property to this key. Just out of that, here I'm going to add link component, something like this. We don't have here link component, so let me just add that first. Import link from next link. Just out of that, right down here, I can use this link component inside this UL, and just out of that, right inside this link, I'm going to add li tag, and inside this li, we pass link dot name, the name of the navigation item, and to this link, we pass href attribute, and then we pass here link dot path. So we pass both these properties to this link. Inside this link, we pass li tag, and to this li, we pass this link dot name, this value, and I'm going to pass a path value to this href attribute, so we can navigate to different items. Just for that, let me save these changes, back to the header. Let me copy this home nav, and instead of this div, we pass here home nav, something like this. Back to my component, and as you can see, I'm going to have my navigation links. Now if you want, you can specify CSS property to this JSX. Now let me inspect this. If you inspect this, you can notice you have your navigation items. Now what if I click on this about us? When I click on it, it's going to open the about page. If I click on the services, it's going to open the services page, and if I click on this blog, it's going to open the blog page, and if I click on the home, that will open the home page. So this is the way you can specify different path to your navigation items using an array. Now if I change this services to post /user, let me save this, back to my project, and if I click on the services, you can see it's going to navigate us to the post user. On the post user, we have two users. So using this technique, you can pass different values to your navigation items. Just for that, what if you don't want to use this href attribute to this link component? In that case, you can use the path name as well. For example, instead of this link path, you can simply pass here an object, and inside this object, you pass path name. Then you pass colon to it, and then pass value. So the value is going to be link.path. Let me save this, back to my project, reload it, And now when I click on the services, it's going to do the same thing. Just out of that, what if you want to access your dynamic routes? Inside your post, you have your post ID. With this ID, you can access all your posts. To access that, you can simply back to your nav link, and let's suppose to this about us, you specify posts because you have these dynamic routes inside this post, and then you pass here /. In the square bracket, you pass the slug, which is ID, something like this. And then just out of that, you back to the layout, and after this path name, and you pass value to that path using query property. So you pass your query, and in the object you pass ID 1. You pass value to this path using query property. Let me save this back to my project, and now when I click on this about us, you can see I'm going to get my first post. If I want to get my second post, I'm going to pass here ID2. Let me save this and click on the about us. I'm going to get my second post. You can get these values from the array as well, or from the component itself. You can get these values from the backend database and specify inside this array. So you can simply navigate through different pages. Practice with this code to understand how navigation works.